All right, welcome to the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. I'm your man, Big Jack. This is where we prove we are stronger together. That if each one would just reach one, we can all grow and glow. And today is another beautiful day. It's the last Sunday of the month, meaning it's the Gentleman's Journal. This is a spinoff for those who don't know, where we're going to have a panel full of men and we're going to discuss men's topics, men's concerns. And I'm not going to say issues because men don't have issues. So with all of that, we're just going to break it down and then bring it out. And so I don't want to even drag this even any longer. I'll get my co-host up on the stage, and then we're going to get started with this episode of the Gentleman's Journal. So let's bring my man up on the stage. Wow, Talks. What's up, bro? What's going on, man?
My man, what's happening, Big Jack? How you doing, sir?
Hey, it's another lovely day. It's hard to believe it's been a whole month, man. It's like the end of the month is here. We're going into July.
Man. And I know it's July, going into July, because last night you did We Be Jamming. So
We Be Jamming, and we had a good time. We had a good time last night.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so for anybody that don't know, they might be in the chat now. The We Be Jamming is the last Saturday of every month, and we had we had a playlist of all kinds of wonderful artists, and they did their thing last night, so we had a good time. So thanks. Yeah, so we'll drop the commercial for the next one because I only remember when the date for the next one. I know it's July something, so I'll look that up while we got here. But we're here, so we got some great men on the panel, and we're gonna drop into some things and try to get busy in some conversation. And I see Amina is out there in the chat, and Niecy Jackson's in the chat. So, and I see we got some other people that's viewing, but we're going to ask you hit that like button, and definitely if you don't, hit those subscribe buttons and all that out there so that you can subscribe to these channels. I see B just popped in, so hey B, and there we go. So let's start bringing them on the stage and get them up here. So we got all right. So one of our guys we're gonna bring on is you've seen him in the chat a lot. He's the co-host of the Experiment. I think that's what it's called. I want to make sure. So if I'm wrong, he's gonna correct me. So but that's the Experiment. I think he has a show which comes on after our show. So he's coming. But for those who've never seen him on the Iron Sharpening Iron stage, let's introduce and bring him to the stage. The Gen X Effect. What's up, bro? How you doing?
Hey, Big Jack. Hey, Walt. Good to see y'all,
man. Sir. How you doing? Good to see you. Good to be seen. How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm living and loving, brother. Just taking one day at a time.
Life. That's good stuff. No other way to take it, right?
No, sir. Not at this age.
Take it how you get it, man. 100%. Take it how it comes and be happy to have it. Absolutely. 100%.
I did it the hard way long enough. I'm just going to lay back and just enjoy the love, man.
You had enough, huh? No more fighting.
That's what we got to do.
I quit.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Well, ain't nothing wrong with that. So look, we got a couple more guys we're going to bring on, and I think we're waiting on one, so I know he'll be here, but we're going to, the show don't stop, like I say, men going to move on. But this guy, he's one of my high school baseball heroes, if I could use that one. So he's a year ahead of me, but he was the first person I've ever heard from my high school to go to college for baseball. So that was huge in itself. And he was a pitcher for Bladensburg High School, and when I was there, and ended up going to the University of Maryland as a pitcher. And not only could he pitch the ball at 90 miles an hour, but he also could hit the ball a mile. So I'm super excited to have him on the stage. First time being on this show as well. And that's my man coming up, Doug Roan. What's up, sir? How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, Doug. How you doing, sir?
Very good. I'm super excited and super nervous.
Hey, quick question for you. Can you still throw that heat, man?
I like to think I can, but I might have some soreness afterwards. I had my cousin and I, we had this bet. He didn't think I could throw 80 miles an hour, so I think I still have to kind of maybe do that.
So if they had Tommy John surgery back then, you would have been okay. You still be throwing. My man, 90 for sure.
Yeah, no, he could toss that rock. That was one thing for sure. So, but it's good having you up on the stage, Doug, and there's no reason to be nervous, Just all men talking. You good? You're safe. Well, we all live Facebook, and we're definitely live on YouTube at this moment. And we got another gentleman back in behind the stage. Now this guy is a first timer, so I've never had him on the stage. Just got to know him a couple of weeks ago, but he is a friend of my best friend Eric from Georgia, Atlanta. So I always look at if Eric send anybody my way. He has a check. You give me a blank check, I'll sign it, whatever, and we're good to go. So if Eric say you good, he good. Now if he ain't, I gotta come back at Eric. And Eric, no, I'll go get him. But he also got the right name, so his name is Eric. So with that being said, we're gonna bring him to the stage, Mr. Eric Lewis. How you doing, sir?
Hello, how y'all doing, man? Yeah, please be
well,
gentle
sir.
with me. If anything goes wrong, blame it on Eric.
Blame it on other Eric.
Hey, it's good to be welcome, man. Good to be in the room with a bunch of young guys like y'all.
Hey man, if trial by fire were people, here we are. So
here we are.
We'll be fine.
You see the background, right? We in the fire already. You see the background. We already in the fire. So
good to be here.
Which is good. And Alex says one more. I know that we sent the invite out to. And when he does come on the stage, he's more than welcome. We'll bring him up on the stage. So gentlemen, how this is going to work? It's the Gentleman's Journal. I mean, I got some topics and some questions that I'm going to ask, and we just want you to be real talk, real answers. We just, it's family friendly show. So my mom will pop up in that chat. My aunt will pop up in the chat. My wife will pop up in the chat. So I try not to have to explain myself to at the family reunion. So if it's something that we can keep as cordial as we can, I'm all good. But at the same time, real talk is real talk. If it's something that needs to be said and we're going to talk about it, I'm 100% okay with that. So but that those are the only rules I got to this thing. So we see we got people popping in, and I see is that Suzette Sunverse, if I want to make sure I get it right, named right. Amina's out there, and hello, Upbeat Pluto, if I say it right. Niecy Jackson's out there. B is out there, and then there's more that's in there that just haven't made a comment yet. But once you make your comment, we'll know you're there, and we'll try our best to recognize you. So, guys, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready?
Yes,
all right.
Fire away.
Let's go.
Say fire away. I like that. So fire away. So if I could throw it out there, the first health across the generations would be the first topic. So we're talking health. And here's a question I put out there. How has your understanding of what it means to be healthy changed as you've gotten older? So how's your understanding of what it means to be healthy changed as you've gotten older? And Walt, I'm going to start with you if that's okay.
Sure. As I've gotten older, and this has been a while now, probably the last 30 years, it wasn't about how you look or how you feel. It's all about how what your numbers were, So, I've seen guys who were that you would call obese or out of shape who had great numbers, and I've seen guys who you thought were fit, and I'll use like Jim Fix as an example, who come to find out wasn't the healthiest, but he had a pre-existing condition. So the change for me, just as it's gotten older, your numbers, man. I mean, your cholesterol, your blood pressure, your PSA, make sure you get your colonoscopies and all that good stuff. So that's how it's changed for me since I was about 30 years old.
Okay.
Which has been like 30 years now, 31 years. Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. Gen X, you got an answer for that one?
I do. I mean, I have to agree with the numbers part, and the time-wise too, 30. I mean, something happened at 30, just things started breaking and things didn't heal like they did at 29. It just, so the biggest thing, that's the biggest change, I think. It's just, I wish I'd have listened to people when I was younger, because you just don't heal like you did. Like, I think you're under this impression when you're in your teens and 20s that, yeah, I do this to my body, I do this, but next week I'll be okay. Now it's 6 weeks, now it's 3 months, now it's 6 months. Now you're on medication for 2 years until you get things under control. That's probably the biggest thing. Is, man, I wish I'd have listened to some of them old kids when I was young.
Right. All right. No, I'm with you, and I'll make my comment. So I'm gonna go down to Eric. What you got anything on that one?
Oh yeah. For me, being an ex-sports, I didn't play professional or anything, or even on the college level, but I always played sports. baseball, basketball, football, tennis, everything. I did everything. I was Mr. Invincible. My remedy for any illness, any fever was to get out there and play and sweat it out. You know what I'm saying? That was the remedy. Don't go to the doctor because you got a sprained ankle. Just play on it. You'll be all right. Yeah, man, that's changed dramatically. But the number one thing that's changed for me, I'm more focused on my spirituality instead of
Sir.
the physical. Because if
Yes,
my
sir.
mind isn't right, I'm not going to get the physical right. So that's the main thing that changed for me. That's the biggest change, is focusing on my mental, my spirituality, and that affects everything else. Then I can
Sure.
steward my body well too once I do that. So
I
yeah,
agree.
for me, that's the biggest thing.
No, very good points.
Mhm.
Dougie, what you got?
But like Walt said, I mean, the numbers is something that just puts that fear into you, right? So, like for me, gout is something that happened probably about 5, 10 years ago, and it just smacked you in the face with pain. You just can't even comprehend, right? So that you got to be proactive and take your medicine every single day, just to make sure. And all these other levels. I just recently lost 40 pounds, right? So just from doing that and going on a different path and a different journey and eating different foods, I can just see how much I feel like I used to feel maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago or something like that. So you have to be willing to change and not to be that, keep doing things the way you've always done it, because it will catch up with you and blindside you and smack you in the face.
No, and 100%. And just to throw that in the air, though, so I can be part of this conversation, won't be considered scared, as Walt Talk said earlier. But it's all good. I'm not
I
scared.
said soft.
Yeah,
Jeez. I
yeah,
didn't say scared. I said soft.
yeah, soft. I got you. But with all that being said, the numbers, it does. The spirituality, everything y'all said was perfect, and I appreciate that, because it was a couple of years ago, just by the numbers and going to the doctor and doing the blood work and getting the numbers checked, that I found out that I had prostate cancer. So I actually had prostate cancer, and and it was because of the numbers. You see your PSA numbers going up, and you don't just blow by it. I didn't feel anything. It was just the numbers. So hey, let's go get this checked. And they did the biopsies and all that they have to do. And they say, okay, you have it. All right, you got cancer. Okay, what are we going to do about it? I'm like, hey, we got to, get rid of this thing, because what I don't want to do is play around. What's a slow growing cancer? Cancer is cancer. Slow growing. I don't even know what that means. So, Walt made the number 30, but I know at 50, and using the car term, your check engine light comes on a whole lot more at 50 years old than it did, at 30 and 20. And I'm talking check engine, meaning you need to go and get it checked out. You can't.
Yes.
This ain't just service light. This is a check engine light. It's totally different. So,
yes, sir.
And that was one of the things that I learned as I got older, to stop not playing with your numbers, but take it serious and things like that, because no one is ever guaranteed anything. I mean, you could be 20, you could be 30. There's no guarantee. But I can promise you that when you get that 40, 50 range, a lot of those things that you thought you could do, and it's in your mind says, yeah, I could do it. I can still run a 40 and 4.4. Yeah. Round, I run a 40 and forever. Yeah, because it'll take me forever to get there. So, but 100%. So, but anyway, I appreciate your conversation with that. And so what advice would you give your younger self about your physical or mental health? And I heard what you said, Eric. So, so if you were younger, what advice would you give your younger self?
Well, one of the main things I would say is heed the warnings. Our bodies tell us, they talk to us all the time. Don't ignore the aches and pains, and don't think that you're invincible. And make sure you focus as much as on your mental and emotional as you do as your physical. We oftentimes, and I speak for myself, are so concerned with how we look, the aesthetics. You know what I'm saying? Do I have a six pack? Am I still cut? Am I ripped? Yeah, that's important, to compete. When you're out there competing in sports, and when you're in the job market trying to compete, it's important to feel healthy, to look good. You look good, you feel good most of the time, right? But if you're not feeling well, if you're not feeling good internally, you can only hide that for so long. So I would tell myself to make sure I'm doing that internal work more so than I'm doing the aesthetic work.
Yes, sir.
I got you. So Gen X, why do you think people won't go to the doctor? Why men won't go? What do you think the problem is?
I mean, for me as a Gen Xer, it was kind of pushed on you. You know, if you wasn't bleeding or dying, you better not ask to go to the hospital. Couldn't nobody afford that mess. So that was part of it. You know, you roll your ankle, you sprain your ankle, you throw a ligament in your arm or something. You just hold it up for a couple of days until it got better. You know, you just, unless you was really bad off, you better not go to mama with a problem, because she did not want to hear that mess. She didn't. And then I think it's just part of the ingraining of being a man. Suck it up, buttercup, rub a little dirt on it and walk it off.
Gotcha.
You know, and you didn't, and it wasn't just the ingraining from other people. Like I think it's in us too. It's in us. It's like, I don't want to look weak in front of Walt. You know, I'm going to go back out here and get in this game. You know, I'm not going to have Eric talk bad about me tomorrow that I didn't do my part. You know, and so you just get back in there and you just do it. You know, I don't want to hear the boss running his mouth because I hurt my hand before lunch. I'm just going to get out here and knock his job out. You know, you just do it.
Wow. Well, no, good. So Walt, the taboo colonoscopies.
Just had one.
All of that stuff.
Just had one 2-3 weeks ago. Yeah. So, hey man, I don't know why it's taboo. I mean, the fact that you even mentioned it on this program wouldn't even have happened probably 10-15 years ago. You know, we probably all would have just closed our screens, man. But the reality is, a lot of men are basically dying from embarrassment. You know, so you know, you have to go. You got to get your colonoscopy. Unfortunately for me, I'm on every 5 years. Last time I was on the 3-year run, you know, and I'm just trying to stay ahead of this thing, but I'm good. Go for my follow-up in a week, and hopefully I'll back on the 5-year run, and then the next one is 5 years, and if I'm good, then I'll go back on a 10-year run, you know. But the reality is, man, just like anything else in life, we fear what could happen more than we feel was really going on right there in front of you, man. I mean, we sit here and we create these scenarios in our brains based on logic or someone else's low calorie logic sometimes, and then that adversely affects our actions, which is a terrible thing. And Gen X said it, man. You know, nobody wants to be the guy or wants to appear to be the guy who looks like he can't handle something, but really, man, everybody's. Eric, you touched on it as well. Everybody's trying to figure it out, man. You know, your mental, your spiritual, all of those things affect the body. I mean, even down to my biggest crime right now, as far as health is, I don't get enough sleep.
Right.
You know, I'm 6 hours, man, and I'm up. But you know, I really, you know, I get a better night's sleep when I go play golf, or when I get a good workout in. I get a better night's rest. You know, and the Apple Watch and all that stuff. You know, they tell you all that stuff to remind you that. So sleep is a big part of your health as well, your mental and physical health, especially as you get older, right?
So Doug, I got a question for you. How important you think it is to share your history, your medical history with family, like your kids, brothers, or things like that?
I mean, it's huge. I grew up not knowing who my biological father was, right? So when I started to see things that were happening with my sons, I was trying to find answers that I didn't have anyone to tell me those answers, right? So having that fear of the unknown is very bad. So, you know, we definitely have to let people know about things that are happening, things that you feel, the possibilities of something. Because again, it's just a scary part of it. Like I said, as soon as I feel that twinge in my leg or my foot, I know I got to take my gout flare-up medicine or something like that. You know, so, and I know that that's something that tends to run in our family a little bit. But yeah, it's a scary thing, because again, I didn't know my biological father growing up, so I didn't know all the problems that he had until after he passed away, and then I found out.
Right. Got you. No, very good. If anyone else got anything from I mixed the questions up and threw stuff at y'all, but anything that I want to comment on that you didn't get a chance to hit on with that subject?
I'd like to say, basically, man, these conversations, and you know, last Thanksgiving, One of all of my buddies over the house, our wives, family members, it's probably about 15, 20 people. And one of the ladies came over to us and said, over in the men's corner where we over there solving all the problems after dinner, right? And she said, I remember a time when you guys would be over here talking about sports and women, and now you're talking about Social Security and Medicare. And I'm like, that's how the conversation has changed. So, we got to keep those conversations going because you're not going it alone. And information is power, and to be able to apply that information properly is even better. So I just say, man, let's just keep talking about it. That's the best thing, man. And kind of comparing notes, and we will find also, like, as much as we think we're individuals in this cohort that we're in, more similarities and differences, all the way around. So yeah, no matter where you come from, what your upbringing was, basically, hey man, the 60-year-old machine is the 60-year-old machine.
Right,
Yeah. So that's what I'm finding.
Yeah, and I would like to piggyback off of what Gen X said a little earlier about appearing weak when you have to admit that you're hurt, you're struggling with something. Actually, I think we just need to get that message out there, man. That's really a strength. You can say, "Hey, man,
nothing is stronger than that.
I need some help." When you have a brotherhood, and us men, we need men. We
need absolutely.
There's something that only men can give another man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Right.
You look at and see another man having the same struggles that we're having, or similar struggle, or even sometimes different. You might be a couple years older than me. I might be a few years younger than you. I can say, okay, this is what happened to me when I was that age.
Right.
Right. We gotta be willing to be transparent and give out guidance to the younger ones and to accept 100%. It from the older ones, or even what. And I'll say this last thing because I pride myself on being able to learn something from anybody, whatever age. It doesn't matter what age they are. I can learn something from anybody. So yeah. Gen X said it right though. Man, you rub something on your arm, you got a broken finger or something, man. Hey, just tape it up and keep moving because we got things to do.
To that point, and Jack, you can relate to this too, I'm sure. Like a lot of in my profession, a lot of guys didn't go for regular injuries because you got to go to the clinic and you got to document it. So it's no big deal. And then you realize later on it catches up to you. Now take that to especially veterans who get hurt, and maybe not necessarily during wartime, but just get hurt. And then they try to go get their disability piece when they retire because these things have caught up to them, and then even like the guys in North Carolina at Camp Lejeune with the water, so documentation beats conversation any day, man. I would say to the younger guys, document everything, man. I mean, whether you go and get it done or it's a problem then or not, you have to document it because the moment you don't, you lose your right to come back and basically be made whole, So I would say just document everything, man. It's not, and Eric, to your point, and Gen X, same thing. Hey, man, it takes real strength, right, to say that you need help. I mean, and I'm not just talking about major stuff. Just basic stuff, man. We're not made. Relationships run the world. We're not made to be on an island as men, especially as you get older. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't fit. So
no, and that's and your point on that, Walt, is you was talking about with the veterans and being an Army vet. A lot of it was if it was in your record and you were trying to be promoted, that was why a lot of people didn't go to sick call. They didn't want to. They didn't have that stuff on their record because it made you seem or appear to be weak or you're soft. You got all these injuries and you got all this. But if you was doing your job and really doing your job, especially when you're out in the battlefield or on the even in the training facility, if you was really doing your job, you was going to get hurt. I mean, it was times when diving over this and jumping under that and rolling here. I mean, those trees ain't forgiving. They don't care. They don't care if you run into a tree. You run into a tree, you're going to hurt yourself. But you couldn't tell anybody because of the fact that you came across as being weak or soft or and it's sad, but it was 100% true, and it stopped a lot of people from reporting. And when you didn't report it, it's in their eyes, if it's not here, and like you said, documentation, if it's not there, it never happened. And don't come to me 20 years later acting like it's something, but you know it happened, and you can tell almost to the date that it happened, but at the
Right.
same time, that's where the problem is. And I'm looking at it look like Truth Wave Energy say don't want to be the labeled as the sick bay commando, and that was it. You didn't want to be the sick bay commando.
Yeah.
So but I got a badge. I got the cross badge on my uniform because I was always a sick call. I had no problem. I'll go. But I had people tell me that they like, man, get that stuff reported. Don't hold on to it. All right, so we're gonna switch gears a little bit and throw it. We came out of health and going into another type of health, but it's your finances. So what's the biggest financial lesson you've learned in your 20s, 40s, and beyond? So financial lessons. What did you learn? What are some moves that you made when you were 20 that you learned when you were 30, 40? I should have made that move at 20. So I'm gonna go with you, Dougie. For Doug Rome, how you doing? What you got?
Sadly, I think I'm still learning as I go along. Lessons learned in life. You know, watching my father, he worked 6 days a week and he was always getting that overtime as best he could. And just to stack the money, you know, for when rainy days come, because they do come, right? So just don't think that you can just put everything on credit cards and pay for it later, because it's going to come back and bite you. So, like I said, those are things that you still learn today, even in making purchases and things like that are big money purchases. You know, make sure you have that covered so that way you can pay for it all at one time as opposed to paying for it over a long period of time.
Gotcha. Okay. No, that's a good one. Mr. Eric, what you got, sir?
Yeah, for me, mine would be pretty simple. Work smarter, not harder. Because like once again, we as men, we feel like we got to take care of everything, and to a certain degree we should, because we're the leader, we're the head of the household, and we should embrace that role. But sometimes we just got to be smart and know when to sit down. And also, one of the things that I used to beat myself up about was missed opportunities. You know, things that you should have taken advantage of and you didn't. So those two things right there, those are the things that stand out the most for me. Is if I had done this, or you know, evaluate an opportunity, take a risk. Life is full of risks.
Yes.
You know, we have to take risks sometimes. There's no risk, no reward. So yeah, for me, those are the biggest things.
That's the one way of looking at it for sure. But I'm thinking when you were saying that, more like that Netflix blockbusters type thing.
Right.
You know, you're never going to make it. Nobody wants their movies in the mail. Like,
it'll never last.
Right, exactly.
Surprise. Exactly. So Gen X, you got anything for us on this one?
My two pieces of advice I would give myself in my 20s and 30s would be save. Save for what's important, not for what you want to have fun with. Like, just save, and don't cash out that IRA.
Oh yeah,
don't. You know, if you quit your job or you lose your job and you move on, take it with you or let it stay where it's at and keep building. Don't cash it out. You know, I did that probably 4 or 5 times, and I ain't working here no more. Let me get that $3,000 out. I ain't working here no more. Let me get that $7,000 out. You know, I'd have 150 grand in there right now. I just left that little 10 grand in. You know, it's that and insurance, life insurance. You know, everybody gets to a point where that becomes a topic of conversation.
Yes.
Don't wait till you're 50 and unhealthy and they can charge you, you know, $300 a month for $100,000 policy. Well, shoot, it ain't even that big. It's $50,000 policy.
Right.
Go on and get it when you're young, get it when you're healthy, lock it in and have it there. Don't leave that on your wife. Don't leave it on your kids.
Wow. Good points. Thank you. Yeah. Walt Talks, what you got for me?
As far as money, hey man, I've blown a lot of money all in the name of fun, but had a hell of a time, you know. But I've always had a pretty good balance with my life, you know, as far as my money goes, because I've never been like a big car person, yada yada yada. I like motorcycles and stuff like that. But I would just say, man, if you really think about how much money you spend on the weekend or for a good night out, and if you just did the math on that and let it play all the way out over 30 years, you'd really see how much how exponential growth works, you know. And I would just say, man, especially for young people starting out, put more away, put more into your 401k or your thrift savings or whatever your situation is, your deferred compensation, put more away. And when you get a raise, still increase that.
Right.
Because when I did okay, but I think about if I had just done more,
Right.
where I'd be. But I would also say, and Eric, to your point, and I'm sure you feel the same way. Hey man, it is what it is. What's
Right.
gone is gone.
It's done, it's
But
done.
and then anytime one thing, if anything changes, everything changes. So you
Right.
just can't change if you're enjoying
Yeah.
your life and
Right.
where you are in life. If you have changed one thing, it may not be the life that you have now. I mean, it could have been totally different, man. So I mean, I'm with you on that. I mean, we've all missed opportunities. We all came up through Blockbuster, Amazon, and Uber, and everything else that Dell and everything else that went public. But I would just say, man, just know that one day, like the old people tell you, just keep living.
Yeah.
If you're lucky, you're going to be older, and you're going to be glad that you did put that away. Yeah.
So I'm looking in the comment section, and Frank's track say, "I've learned not to rely on the lottery." So that's not the best investment.
Yeah, and let me just add this statement. I heard a lot of us give up on what we really want for what we want right now.
Yes.
Yeah. No, and that's what's up. And Lakeside Laura made the comment of buying gold and silver. So I mean, and that's one of those moves. A lot of we don't. We know the stocks and we get in the 401k and all, but do you buy outside of the stocks? Do you buy gold, buy silver, and things like that? So
here's what's funny, man. You do what elementary, middle school, high school is what 12 years. You may do 4 years of college. You may do another specialty thing. So let's say, on average, the average person has at least 12 to 16 years of school, investing in themselves to make themselves better, right?
Right.
But then when it comes to your finances, we have the mentality where we want to flip it. You want to buy it for one, sell it for two, and you want it overnight. But if you just took that long approach and played the long game, even like down to dollar cost averaging, you just be in better shape, man. And I mean, we can all, like I said, we can all do more, man. If you're talking about $5 at Starbucks every morning, if you just put that in the, just think about how much that adds up to. And we all have that story. I mean, I know I do.
Yep.
And whoever that was that talked about the lottery. Yeah, man. I play the lottery every now and then. And one year I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to take the money that I've been playing and just put it into a jar. And I haven't been behind since. I've always been ahead, And I'll just take that and do whatever at the end of the year. Sometimes I'll deposit it. Sometimes I'll just buy that thing that I want, and it's just like a game. And once you start saving, it becomes a game with this. With me, it becomes a game. Like, oh man, okay, I did pretty good today. And then of course, with all the technology, you know where you are with the Rocket Money and the Quicken and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
When you start looking at those categories, and Jack, we're not even going to talk about golf, man, because golf doesn't count. But man, I've been like, oh Lord,
yeah,
man.
You cut that out, you go be a
man, yeah, man, yeah. So just
I wanted to touch on what Walt said a little while ago when he said, think about the money you spend for a good time on the weekends and add it up, over 10, 20, 30 years. I wish somebody had taught me about inflation, because not only are you spending money on the weekend for the 10, 20, 30 years, what you're spending for the weekend now is not going to be, if you spend $100 this Saturday, it's going to be $500 in 20 years.
Today's price is not tomorrow's price or yesterday's price.
Yeah. It's just crazy. So, and nobody taught me that part. Nobody.
Yeah.
Or maybe they did and I didn't listen.
And we weren't
You just
listening.
weren't listening. Yeah, that's the big one. Like,
because that's them, man. Yeah, but I'm different. I mean, that happened to you, but I'm different, man.
We've been hearing that rainy day fund for a long time, but it's like, when is it gonna rain? It ain't gonna rain.
It's kind of like Jack when we play golf and we're playing the skins game. So if a guy gets a par, you want someone else to get a par, so that that nullifies his par and nobody has to pay, right?
Right.
So what's the expression we use? Hey man, save the church some money, right?
Oh yeah.
Because but then when you talk about, you know, the church, talking about that old building fund, the next thing out of mouths is, yeah, man, we haven't bought a new doorknob at the church, man. So where's my building fund money going? You know what I mean? So that's always been like a joke with us on the golf course. Yeah, but you got to know, man. It's like you said, Doug. You said it, man. It's one day it's going to rain. It's going to rain.
So I got a question for y'all. Is your credit rating overrated? Is it? Do you really need to worry about your credit rating? Is that like, or do we put too much on it? Anyone can answer that one else.
I guess in some sense it's not overrated. It depends on what you're trying to do and what entity you're dealing with. But for the most part, it's just, I think it's about being a good steward over your finances, just knowing what you're doing with your money. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. Maybe I think in some instances it's important.
And not to step on each other, I'm gonna go. I think Gen X had something. Go ahead, Jen. Gen X.
To me, it matters. To me, it's very important. I mean, it's not that it's important to me, but it's important to live in society if you want to live decent. I could care less about the credit rate, and I wish I could just pay for everything in cash. And you get charged now for paying bills in cash.
Right.
There's cell phone companies you go to, and I'm right here. Let me walk on in there and pay my bill. Oh, that'll be $5 extra because it's cash. Really?
Yeah.
Like, so credit, I don't want it to be important, but it's very important.
Yeah.
Yes. The society we live in, it matters.
Yeah, I'm in workforce development. So, I mean, a lot of people don't realize that when you're going to start with a new company, one of the things that they're looking at your background, your social media, then also your financial background. So they're going to see your last 5, 10, 15 years. And a lot of people are scared to apply for certain jobs because of that, because they don't want people to see certain things that are on there. It's going to stop them from getting a job. So it matters a lot.
And if you think about it, in college, you kids are coming out of college in debt just because you can get a credit card quicker than you can if you in college, quicker than you can if you have a job.
Right.
And they don't teach credit and credit management in high school, right? How many got that class in school?
Yeah. Nah.
Right.
Well, we learned how to work that nickel and dime extra from lunch. I didn't know lunch was 95 cents. I knew how to work that nickel, give me some annihilators or something. But
I used to always say that, basically in high school, I don't know why they didn't basically just teach us how to do a checkbook.
To live.
Right.
That part too.
Just to balance your checkbook.
Yeah.
My mama had to teach me that. My mama had to teach me that than my wife. I didn't know.
Right. No, that's good points. Definitely good points. Lakeside Laura makes a comment down that says Dave Ramsey says not to focus on credit rating, but debt free and saving.
Right.
And I'm with you on that. Being debt free and having a good saving, but you still got to have some form of credit.
Yes.
Because that's what they're looking at. It's like, what is your credit history? You got to have something that you've shown that you make, like when you're trying to get an apartment, or you're trying to get buy a car, or if you're trying to, if someone's going to loan you anything, they want to know what your history's like. And if you don't have any type of history, you're bad rating. Like I have no debt, but you have no history either. So we don't know if you're going to pay your bill once you get a debt, and that could be a problem sometimes.
But if you look at, like, say, if you show the average person just an amortization table of a mortgage, right? And the difference between, a point is hundreds of thousands of dollars in 30 years, So, and when I was doing mortgages, 2007, 2008, on a part-time basis, man, I was amazed at how many people did not know certain things. I mean, like, because it's almost like they were embarrassed. But like, if you don't know your APR, right, and you don't know how much money the money costs you, or if you go buy a car and the car salesman asks you, what's your credit? And you'll give them an idea, they run your credit, and then you say, he might ask you, well, number one mistake, how much do you want your payments to be? I mean, you have just basically opened up your checkbook, opened up your wallet, and just told this guy to just have his way with you, because you don't know what it cost you. You don't know what it truly cost you, and that's a problem. And then when guys leave the car dealership with the car, just take it home, You know, you leave that car dealership with that car, and your friends say, "Oh man, this car is nice." You'll never take it back. You know, and they know that. So I mean, your credit will determine your interest rate, which will determine your financial status down the road. So I'm with all of you guys. We don't like it. It's not fair, but we do know that it's at the bottom. At the end of the day, it costs. It costs. It costs. Yeah. So
All right,
yeah.
all right, nothing wrong with that. All right, so I'm gonna change gears again, and I know
Okay.
Gen X, you are getting closer, so I'm gonna throw this one out there, and then I'm gonna let Gen X go first, and then I know you got to go and prepare for your show, so I'm gonna respect that and respect your time
Absolutely.
on that for sure. So let me throw this one with, and like I say, we're changing gears, so let me see. Boom, this one's dealing with relationships and real talk. So how have your views on love, loyalty, and communication in relationships evolved over time? So, you know, when I was younger in my college days and high school days to now in my, older days, how has your views changed in that? And if you don't want to answer, I'm okay. But
Oh
you're
no,
good.
no, I'm good. Well, communication I've learned from when I was younger to now is extremely important. You know, when I was young, you didn't need to know anything I was thinking. You didn't need to know what I believed in. You just didn't need to know it. It was just for me and me only. And yeah, that don't work. That they don't like that. They don't like that part at all. Um, you know, so I've learned to communicate better, and I've learned it not only so I can be a better man and communicate with somebody, but I respect communication myself. You know, I need to know things. When I was young, I wanted to believe I knew everything, and I now know I don't know nothing. So I need to know things. You know, you need to tell me something.
Yeah.
Loyalty's always been a big deal to me.
Yes.
It's gotten probably a little stronger as I've gotten older. I guess maybe because you go through disloyal people and unloyal people, you learn how valuable loyalty is.
Mm.
My views on love. I mean, it's a learning process. I've been through quite a few relationships. My first wife passed away, and I've been through a couple long-term relationships since that point, since me and her were together. And each time I learned a little bit more, and I think I learned to love better. I learned a little bit more each time what's important and what isn't. What I thought was important, and now what you think is important at 20 is not important at all. It's
Not even close.
it's real. Yeah, it's such a when I look at my youngest son, he's in the chat, Upbeat Pluto. When I look at him sometimes, and I just want to say things and like, nah, I can't tell you. You just got to figure it out, man. You got to figure out that this is not that big a deal, and you will in about 5 years. It'll get you, and you'll be like, this wasn't worth what I just went through.
Right.
So that's love. I've just learned to appreciate people. Well, my person for who they are. That was a big thing I had a problem with. I was a little bit of a control freak, and I would learn I liked the heck out of somebody, but then when I got with them, I wanted to change those very things that I liked so nobody else would like it. It was crazy, man. And then you get in your mid-30s and you get a little bit of brain in you at that point working, and you think, man, how did I even think like that? Like, I liked her for this. Why would I change that?
Right.
So yeah, it's a learning process, and I appreciate love, and I appreciate communication, and loyalty is huge. Yeah.
Nah. Thank you. Eric, I see you look like you're concentrating. What you got for us, Eric?
Oh man, I was sitting here thinking, do I really want to weigh in on this? But no, love, loyalty, and communication, man. I'll tell you this, and what I've learned: if you want some peace in your life, you better get good at all three of those.
100%.
If you want peace, you better get. And this is coming from a man that if my wife were right here right now, she would tell you she doesn't like me. She might love me, but she doesn't like me. And I have kind of like you, Gen X, is like those things that attracted me to her are the things that I like the least about her now after 24 years of marriage. You know what I'm saying? And I'm kind of nuanced there a little bit because if you something, and Muhammad Ali said this, if you're the same person after 20 years, something is wrong.
Yes, sir.
So we do evolve as people, and there are expectations that you should have, but they should be spoken expectations.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? You shouldn't just expect somebody to know what you expect. Does that make sense? You
can't hold someone accountable. You can't have someone hold someone accountable for something that you haven't told them, what they don't know.
That's
Absolutely.
what I mean.
100%.
So yeah, that in that sense, yeah. But I know I'm kind of rambling a little bit, but
no, not at all, bro.
Communication is the key, man. That's the most vital thing in any relationship. It's vital. You better learn how to communicate, because if you don't, and I can say this, I just met you guys tonight, but I guarantee you the number one thing in your household that you want is peace. You don't want to come home after being out all the time working and doing whatever it is work and come home to any chaos. You want peace, whether if you by yourself, you're pretty much guaranteed peace unless you just battling the demons in your head. But if you got kids, you got a wife, or you got somebody living with you, you want to come home and it be peace there. And you have to be able to communicate effectively to actually have a certain level of peace. And you have to do that inner work. That's why I keep going back to the inner work. You have to do that, because you can't put everything on somebody else. You can't expect them to do everything.
No one's responsible for your happiness.
That's right.
Yeah. I'm 100%.
Wow. Yeah. Now, very good points. Very good points. Doug, you got anything? You knew I was coming your way. So.
I mean, I will admit this every day as a communicator in my personal life. I've never been good at it. I've never been, but in my professional life, I'm very good at it, especially letting other people know that's something that you need to do. You need to put it out there. You need to let people know your feelings and the things that you want. If you don't ask for something, you're never going to get it in that way. So I've always been that shy, introverted self, but I'm always in extroverted situations. So I know what I need to do when I need to do. But I'm always worried about like that inner self, and just worried about how I just said this and how it was perceived or something like that. And I didn't want someone to think this way and think that way. So it was always hard for me in various situations growing up. People were like, you're not a shy person. I was like, believe me, I really am a shy person. But because of that, and maybe just being a servant leader and stuff like that, it's something that I see as my core value, to be able to help other people to be able to do that and take that leap of faith and be out there and be trusting and show your true feelings and show your emotion. I'm one of those persons that now I wear my heart on my sleeve. I will tell you about the good, bad, and the ugly and everything that's going on in my life, if I can help you to learn a lesson in life. Especially, because like I said, I've been there and done that, lost a lot of money, in the highest highs and the lowest of lows. But you definitely have to value the people that are around you and with you. And it does take a village, whether it's your family, your neighbors, or the people you work with. We're always one big family, and we need each other. So I like that loyalty, and I'm more trusting now than I ever was of people, for the last 56 years. So that's a good thing.
No, that's good. And before Walt, before you go, I want to just say, I know Gen X had to leave. He has a show. So I want to thank Gen X for being on the stage and being on the panel with us. I think his screen froze on us before he left, but it was like the perfect time, because it was right at time to leave.
Right.
But he had some very valuable comments and insight, and I appreciate him taking his time and coming up on the stage with us and hanging out. So and thank you again, Gen X. So Walt, what you got for us, sir?
So I'm with Eric, man. But the 3 P's: P plus P plus P equal P. So peace, purpose, and prosperity equal passion for me. So if I have 2 of the 3, I can probably get passionate about something. But I do not waste my time. I forget how many minutes we have in a day, and on anything that does not bring me peace, passion, or prosperity. And because it's just, man, Marvin Gaye's one of my favorite songs by Marvin Gaye was "If I Should Die." And I always ask myself, if today was my last day, right after I have this silly argument with you, and I go and I leave this world, am I going to be pissed at myself for sitting here wasting my last minutes of my life arguing about something that doesn't matter? So, hey man, I'm like this, man. I will stay out of your way. I will, and this goes for relationships, friendships. I will stay out of your way because everyone deserves to have peace, you
Mm.
know. And sometimes what I found is people who don't have peace in their lives are not really looking for it. They're just looking to win an argument. And I'm not trying to go down that road, man. I'm just not. I'm not going to tolerate anything. I'm not going to let you take my time from me. My time as I get older is more valuable than anything,
Right.
And it's the old adage, hey man, please remove all sharp objects before getting in my lifeboat. I will help anybody, but I'm not going to let you take me down with you. So I'm just not.
Well, good insight on that. Now I
Yeah.
know when we the word we use was relationships,
Mhm.
and all the men on the stage. I mean, we went male female, but how is
Right.
that like a relationship with a male? I mean,
Same thing.
is your relationship, is that those same values or
Same
uh,
thing.
right?
I'm not going to sit here and argue with you whether you got a 5 or a 4 on your scorecard. I'm not going to argue with you, hey man, you rolled your ball and we're playing them down. You walked in the ball in the woods with your hand in your pocket, and all of a sudden you found the ball 20 yards past when we know it went in back here. I'm not having no discussions. I'm just rather that I won't bet. I'll play with you, but I'm not going to bet you. And if it gets to that, I just rather not be around you, man. I mean, because here's the thing. Here's the thing. If I can't trust you on that, what's going to happen when it really matters?
Right. No,
And I
I got
think as men, especially as men, I think we and I'm talking in general here, uh, and you guys were athletes, especially you guys, because all three of you guys play ball at a pretty good level. Um, it's like you got to find that thing that gives you that passion because when something defines you, how well you can hit a ball, catch a ball, throw a ball, what you drive, what type of woman you date. If these things define you, the moment you don't have that thing that made you the man, you will do anything to get that back. And that's when you get into people who compromise their integrity
you.
because they're trying to get that thing back, you know. And I just think, man, back to Eric, what you said in the beginning, man, if you don't have that spiritual grounding, that inner peace, man, you'll never find it. You'll never find it, and you'll compromise yourself every time. You got to stand on something, man. You got to stand on something.
Yeah.
You know.
So
Yeah.
now, do you think, and now I'm just going to throw this
Mhm.
out there, and if you got something else you want to reply or
Mhm.
respond to, but you think what you just said, Walt, was what causes people or men sometimes to step out? You're in a relationship, but you're still
Mhm.
trying to find out, like, I was a man when I was in high school. I was a man when I was in college, and you thinking, I've been in this thing for 20, 30 years. All of a sudden, do I still got it? Is that something you're looking for? You think so?
I think as young men, maybe, but as older men, man, look, as this is just my opinion. I always tell people I'm not in that line of work because if it's like robbing a bank, man. If you start at the end with the consequences and work your way back to the crime, you won't go and rob the bank because you understand what comes with it. So at 60 years old, man, I don't want to live over top of the liquor store, man. I mean, I've done that. I've been there, so I don't want to lose what I have. And you certainly don't want to bring someone else or hurt someone else because you don't know you can't figure out what you want to do with your life. And then it's easy for me to say at 60. Fortunately, I didn't get married till I was 33. So I kind of like had those things worked out before I got married. A lot of guys get married at 18, they never work those things out. So they
Right.
got to try to figure it out as they go. So, but man, I'm pretty much, man, I'm over the mindset if I didn't get married, I'd probably be dead and broke by now. You know what I mean?
I got you.
All in the name of fun, so yeah,
I got you.
so it depends on the person, man. You got to be, it all comes from within, man. You got to be happy with who you are as a person. And then nothing else adversely affects you because other people's success, it doesn't adversely affect you. It just doesn't because you want everybody to win because it has nothing to do with you. You're not paying for their happiness. It's not a
Right.
zero-sum game,
I
so
got you. I
it
got
comes
you.
within.
All right.
Yeah.
Eric, you got anything, or Doug, anything on that? Yep, you don't have to throw nothing. If you don't have it, we good. We
I
can
think
move on.
we all enjoy the chase, but as we get older and then keep going with the golf analogies and stuff like that, then you just learn how to take that passion and put it towards improving yourself, or with the guys I play with, we play a points game. So like you said, you're not really worried about them. You're just trying to make sure you're plus to do whatever it is and forget about that last shot and worry about the next shot. And it just takes one shot to get you back in, to get you the points that you need to earn the money that day. So we're just changing out the chase for something else. We're smarter now.
How about that?
And for me, like on that level, I'm not a golfer like you guys are, but when you talk about male relationships, I'm always looking for where can I add value, and can this individual add value to me? Am I going to allow this person in my life to hold me accountable? I don't need anybody in my life that's not going to point out to me, Eric, maybe you shouldn't do that. Maybe you shouldn't do that. Maybe that's not good for you. Maybe you should try something different. That's what I want in my life at this age, and it's been that way for several years now. But that when it comes to a male relationship, I'm actively seeking that. You know what I'm saying? I'm actively seeking to add value to somebody else's life. I don't these relationships like you said, Walt. Life is too short. I don't want to spend. It's too short. The days go by. I don't want to spend my days just wasting my days doing some nonsense.
No. Good points. Good point. So, guys, I'm gonna take a quick break, 30 seconds, and then we got another guest we're gonna pop up on the stage. So let me take this 30-second break, and then we'll be back. And we got more questions for y'all. But thank y'all and everyone that's out in the chat. The Iron Sharpening Iron Show, and definitely this is the break off for the Gentleman's Journal, and so we appreciate everything that's been said so far. So wanted to take this quick break.
Get ready for the ultimate live experience. Join us on stage where music, poetry, and comedy collide in a night to remember. Top musicians, spoken word artists, and comedians come together for a unique and unforgettable show. From soulful melodies to side-splitting jokes, this jam-packed event has it all. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride as we bring you the best of the best in this one-of-a-kind performance. Are you ready for the next We Be Jammin' Live?
All right, welcome back to the Iron Sharpening Iron Show, or the Gentleman's Journal. And we got on the stage with us Fishy Things down there in the corner. There you go. What's up?
Oh,
Fishy, what's up? You didn't know you was on?
Am I late? I must have been confused about the time frame. I thought I was super early.
Remember, you're late. Yeah, when I say you're late, you're always on time. But we're on the East Coast. You're in the Central, so that's 7 o'clock, and we're 7 o'clock on the East Coast. So what time is it for you right now?
It's 7 o'clock here.
It's 8 o'clock here. So we've been on for an hour so far. So, but you're all right. You're good. It's like you took places, because we had Gen X on, and now you popped on. So Gen X had to leave, and now you're here. So
there you go.
Perfect. So, gentlemen, we're going to change what they say, I don't say channels, but we're going to definitely change gears and go in another question. And this one is it's going to be different because of we're older gentlemen. So and we're going to throw this one out there. So it's based around the impact of social media. So how has social media helped or hurt men when it comes to self-worth, relationships, and brotherhood? Social media. How has social media helped or hurt men when it comes to worth, relationships, and brotherhood, which I got. And I'm going to go with you, Doug. You look like you're eager on this one, man. What's that?
The woulda, shoulda, coulda. If there would have been social media or texting or messaging back in the day, the game would have been totally different, right? So it makes us much more braver. We're those keyboard warriors that can sit behind something and not have to worry about being face-to-face, mano-a-mano with somebody. So a lot of times people are being much more braver, saying things that are, maybe it's their true self, but it's one of those scary double-edged sword kind of type thing. Be careful what you start typing, because are you going to be able to back it up when you actually see that person face to face, and whatever it may be. I think like we were saying before, we care about how we look and everything like that. So I'm sure we may even have a picture that's on social media, and you're like, well, I don't know, I maybe want to put a different picture on there. So we always want to put the best foot forward, and that gives us that opportunity maybe to do that at times, because you get that retake, you get a retake, as opposed to being the reality of that in the moment, face to face with somebody. So again, it was, for me being a shy person, it would have been something really special back in the day Now you just got to be careful with how you use it and things that are out there, because it's always out there. I do a lot of things with the Department of Corrections with helping people get jobs, and they don't realize that social media is one of the biggest checks that they do with your background. So they're going to see all the things that you posted over time, and that can be a determining factor whether or not you get a job or not. So it's great for many things, for real time and spreading information, but again, be careful what you look at and what you say on there.
And what you posted. All right, I'm gonna go with Eric. What you got, sir?
Yeah, for me, the way it has affected me is like right back to what we were talking about earlier. Communication. It's like communication styles are just it's crazy how we have to make adjustments, especially for the newer generations that were born into the social media. Make adjustments for how they communicate. Right? You have to wait for a response. You have to get in somebody's DMs. You have to. What about just talking?
Right.
So for me, that's and of course there's some benefits to social media.
Sure.
It gives you access to things that you wouldn't normally have access to or as quickly. So there's some good and some bad, but the whole communication piece to me is one of the more crucial aspects of social media. And I see a lot of negativity with that, where we have to make so many adjustments to communicate outside the box of what our norm was. Because I know for me, like talking, I just want to talk to you. You know, I just want to see you and talk to you, and maybe person to person, face to face. I can even do a Zoom like this. This is better. See, this Zoom right here. This is something we weren't able to do in the past. It's a good thing. This platform is a good thing.
Right.
But yeah, that's the main thing for me. Communication again.
Okay. All right. Fishy things coming to you. What you got, sir?
So I think there's if you don't mind, I'm going to answer this question in 3 phases. So first, I'm going to put out a blanket statement, and then I'll probably end it by answering why I think this. But I think it's actually hurt women the most, and I'll circle back to why that is. But as far as men, I think that it depends on how you want to look at hurt or help. Depends on the objective of the man, right? Then that breaks off into 2 brackets, right? And then, so because the thing about social media and all the dating apps and things like that is that it is primarily driven by physical appearance, right? Like if you see a photo of someone and you swipe left or swipe right, you know what I mean? That's generally what most of them are. Yes, you write stuff about yourself in bio and all that kind of stuff, right? But usually, probably, I don't know, if I had to guess a percentage, I'd say at least 80 to 90% of the time, that first look, what does he look like, is a woman's first thing, and they just immediately cancel a guy out or move on, you know what I mean? And so from that objective, men that are maybe less than average attraction physically are not even getting a chance in the new landscape. You know what I mean? So there's a surplus of men that really just don't get dates, don't get any sort of female attention in the modern age, right? Now, on the flip side, the percentage of men that are above average attraction, they're actually getting more opportunities than ever in history, more numbers of women, if you know what I mean. And so I think this is actually hurting everyone, honestly. So I think it makes it too easy for your sort of upper echelon physically men to be immoral, to be bad, to fool around with tons and tons of women because it's so easy, because they've literally got hundreds of them in their phone that they can contact at any time, and they all want to have an opportunity with them, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I think it's hurting everyone, and I think it's hurting your upper echelon from a physical standpoint, men, from increased opportunities at immorality, right? I think it's hurting men that are below average appearance in the fact that they're not even getting a chance. And then I think it's hurting women because prior to this, women would at least, they say that a woman decides whether or not she'll consider a man in those first 10 seconds of seeing him, right? But without social media, they would get a chance to genuinely talk to a man. A man would actually have to come up to them and say something. And women are highly emotionally intelligent, right? So, those next follow-up, whatever the heck they say, is immediately differentiating one man from another. And also on that, the social cues of politeness, if, prior to social media, most people kind of just met in random spots and just happen to talk. And so an average man might, happen to talk to a woman at a grocery store because they're see the same grocery item or whatever sparked the impromptu conversation. And then she would get to know that man. And what's interesting is when you get to know someone, especially when you're talking like building romance and chemistry and rapport, things like that, any sort of relationship really, but knowing someone and then you can grow to find somebody more physically attractive if you kind of like the things they say, if you like things about them that you get to know, they suddenly become more physically attractive. But with the social media, you don't get to that point as fast. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Okay. No, I'm with you. I got you. Good point. Say. So I'm gonna throw it to you, Walt. What you got on this?
I think like anything else, man, social media is a tool, and I'll use the gun analogy, if I may. A gun on the table or fire. I'll use fire. Fire can heat your house. It can burn your house down. It can cook your food, right? It can keep you warm. And I mean, so it's all depending on how this tool is used. However, what I don't agree with where I don't like social media from the standpoint of it makes people lazy. It now requires us that we don't have to do the work that we used to have to do, and the accountability piece. And I'm not saying, again, if the tool is improperly used, the accountability piece, saying what you mean, meaning what you say, being who you are, representing yourself properly, all of those things is easy to put up that facade. It's easy to practice deception with the social media piece. And then the downside is we are exposed to more information and have access to more information than ever. And we use less, we do less research based on likes, shares, and views. So that's not a social media problem. That's a situation where people have been socially engineered to do that. So basically, the world is dumbing down. They're dumbing us down. The world, the invisible they, are dumbing us down, and it just makes it harder for us to get past those things as a people. So that's my ups and downs on social media. But I mean, hey man, like right now we're having a great conversation, and this is on social media, so this is a beautiful thing as well. So it's
No,
properly
and
used, it's good.
that is true. That is true. What you got, Fishy?
I just want to piggyback up what you said about we now have access to more information than ever. And while that is 100% true, it's also we're also bombarded by just as much, if not more, disinformation. If that makes any sense.
Exactly, absolutely.
Just as much or more nonsense. So it's really hard to filter through. Like, yes, we have access to all the truth and knowledge that has been acquired since man started writing. Right now, it's all out there, but it's also filled with a bunch of baloney too.
Yes.
So that's all I wanted to comment on that.
That could be like say like in Walt Beta, and both of y'all saying pretty much the same thing on that, where you got to do the research. Just because you saw a video don't mean you share that video until you prove that that's true or not. You got a video that somebody passed away, like, wow, they passed. Oh man, you sharing it with all the people, like, I didn't know so and so passed, like they didn't pass. Like, oh man, I got a video. Like, you can't just go off of the videos. And with and as valuable as it is, and I was about to say that with AI, you don't even know if that's the person. I mean, the AI can make anybody look and do whatever you want them to do. I mean, I'm looking at videos with babies talking, and I'm looking. I mean, it's like, as much as I see now, I'm like, man, this thing is amazing. But at the same time, and it goes back to a part of doing the research and doing some work. And I prefer to text a person before I will call them, So that's just me. I don't like to talk on the phone, but I didn't like to talk on the phone when we just had landlines. I just didn't want to talk. I'd rather be outside. So texting made it so small. It was short. It was quick. Bam, 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 and it was gone. I didn't have to wait and all of that. I mean, I had to wait for you to respond, but I didn't have to, have a deep conversation, with you. So that's just my preference. But at the same time, I like talking to people. So I mean, we have a live show and I'm talking to you, so I enjoy this. But if I was to reach out to you on the cell phone, it'd probably be by text. It's just like, hey, what you got? And then that's how I would go, because then I know if you're busy or if you're not busy and you respond, then we can have a conversation if we need to. And that's just, I guess that's my thing. But knowing that social media is out there, and I know it was a couple of weeks ago, we had some younger people on the panel, and they were saying that's just like even dating. They don't ask the person their number anymore. And I don't need your phone number. What's your DM? What's your gram? What's your Instagram? What's your this and that? And they're doing background checks before they even want to get started with. Like Doug said, they're looking in your Instagram and trying to see what you all about before we even get started in this relationship thing. And that's just the way to work.
About? Do you really know what a person is about on an Instagram? You know who their representative. You know who the representative is, and you know what they're willing to say or not say. But will they really stand on that? And it's back to you guys being athletes, man. Hey, look, like Mike Tyson used to say, is everybody's got to play until you get punched in the nose. Oh, yeah. So once you're under pressure, it's a different conversation. So I mean, like I said, it's a tool, man. We're here, so we can't be the old guys and just be pissed that we're, oh man, get off my lawn, But it's a tool, and I just take it for what it's worth. For what it's worth. Yeah.
No, I got you. No.
Great questions though, Jack. Great questions, man.
And that's what I'm glad, and I'm hoping that's what we get. Like, this is the Iron Sharpening Iron Show, even though it's a spinoff of it. But I want a deeper conversation where we can actually we can grow. And I ask a lot of questions because I be wanting to know. I'm trying to keep my relationship strong, and I'm trying to keep my other parts strong. And I like to know what you're thinking, so I know if I'm on the right page or not. So thank y'all for all of that. So I'm gonna change gears again, and we're gonna drop another one on you. And this one is dealing with fatherhood and mentorship. So what's the difference between being a father and being a mentor? And how can more men show up in both roles today? So is there a difference? So the difference between being a father and being a mentor, and how can we show up more in both roles today? And I'm gonna go with Eric this time. We'll start with Eric.
Okay, that's a great question. It's kind of loaded, but I don't think there's too much separation in the two. Okay. It's, to me, and I'm a father of two. I have a son now who is 24 years old. He's actually plays basketball overseas, and we are actually. It's I'm still growing. I'm still learning how to communicate with him, and he's learning how to communicate with me. But I've always tried to be a mentor to him and the father to him, because I really don't think you can separate the two.
Okay.
I think you can I don't think you can, you can mentor someone that's not your child, but I don't think you can father someone that's not you know what I'm saying? It's what it's I think they go hand in hand, and it has to be I've learned that it has to be intentional. You have to be focused on the messages that you are trying to give to your child. And you also have to be transparent. You got to be real. And I say this all the time in other settings. It's like, as a man, we're around the same age, guys. And one of the things that we used to say all the time, or we used to hear said to us all the time, is do as I say, not as I do.
Right.
That doesn't work. That doesn't work. But we're asking our children to be more intelligent nowadays. Social media is doing that, right? They're doing that. They got all this information. They looking up things. They see stuff that we don't even see. And these are one of the first generations where we as parents have to go to them and ask them for help. That's empowering to them. And that makes them think that they're on the same level we are.
That's true.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So just that aspect of understanding that as a parent, that you have to be intentional about what it is that you want this child, how you're rearing this child, and the values that you want to instill in the child, and understanding that it's going to take. But let me just pivot here: is that we gonna have to be willing to be mentored also.
Also,
Right.
This goes back to my point about like the name of your show, Iron Sharpening
Sharpening
Iron.
Yeah.
We can't do this by ourselves. There's some things that we just don't know. And then, like Doug said earlier, I don't know how many other people are on here that has that same experience where he didn't know his biological father. A lot of times we learn things on the fly coming up, and a lot of times we learn it from the wrong people, from the wrong at the wrong time, the wrong way, and we spend years trying to relearn or be retaught how to do something, and then we make mistakes with our parenting and with our mentorship. So yeah, I don't think you can really separate the two. And I think it has to be intentional. I think it has to come from a place where it's genuine, and we have to be transparent. We have to be transparent. We have to be willing to be wrong too.
Yes.
Gotcha. No, good point. I'm gonna go with you, Fishy Things. You got anything for us on this one?
Absolutely. But before I get to that, I'm curious. So I opened your channel in my live as well. Can you see my people chatting as well?
Yeah, I can see him. Yep.
Because Release to the Greek, I think, has a pretty good take on it. If you wanted to read that quick.
Nah, and the thing is, and if you're talking about this one, I was getting ready after you, but there it is right there. He said, I think the difference in fatherhood and mentorship is skin in the game, meaning being a father, you have a direct responsibility in raising your kids to be good people. Mentors can create the same, like a coach or whatever, being a good mentor to a child. But at the same time, your skin in the game is not the same. So I can agree to both of those right there.
Absolutely. So yeah, and I was going to say something similar. I was going to say, the biggest differentiator is sort of time. You know what I mean? As a mentor, you have a much more limited amount of time to mentor, right? You have limited windows of opportunity, and I think that maybe makes it a little easier to bring your best foot forward in those limited windows. Whereas being a father, you're a father every day, all day, nonstop, forever. The moment that kid's born, right? And you're also a human being. And so, I mean, if we're being real here, we make mistakes as fathers and as human beings sometimes. You can't always be your best self every minute, every day. You could sure try, and you should try 100%. So, yeah, I would say that's the biggest difference, and you do have to, make a mental effort every single day to try and be the best you can. And if you don't, you're going to slip up. You'll probably slip up either way, but you'll slip up more if you don't make a mental conscious effort to be the best you can for your child.
All right. Okay.
And just let me just add one thing right quick, and I just want to say this because I just looked up mentor, and it says an experienced and trusted advisor.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's it. That's it.
I got you. And I appreciate you looking that up and throwing that definition out there.
That's definitely it.
Yeah. So Dougie, you got anything for us?
It's one of those things that hit you in the face. I've always felt that I've been a much better mentor to other people than a father, just because life is hard, and it's a lot of times we may say or do things that upset people, or they take it the wrong way, or you use sarcasm, whatever it may be. So because we're not around other people, it's easier for me to be able to show people exactly what was going on in life and maybe how they can do things a little bit better for themselves. So again, I think that I know, like we said, we make a lot of mistakes. So I could have done things a lot better and should have done things a lot better. But then when you see how your children turn out and see that they're great people and they're doing the right things in life, you can definitely see how you're leading by example. And, a lot of times we, sometimes aren't as apologetic as we could be, or don't say the right things, or do the right things in the right situations. But over time, they're going to see you doing the right things, whether it's as a mentor or as a parent or as a father. So it is definitely a duality with everything that you do, because everything is seen and heard. And hopefully they take the right things and move forward.
Right. No, good points. And I'm gonna go to you, Walt. But just being honest and open with yourself to saying that I'm not perfect. I'm not, you know, I don't have all the answers. You know, you do your best to be your best, but like I say, there's times where, you know, situations might come up where you know, you like the way you handle it might not have been the right way to handle it, but at that moment, that was the best way that I knew how to handle that situation. And you hopefully can always go back and apologize if you do something wrong or whatever. But at the same time, you know, you're raising young, especially me. I got 4 boys. My oldest is 32. So, you know, I look at it like that. These are grown men, you know, so when I'm sitting there talking to them, I'm talking to a man, and you get there, well, that's my boy, that's my kid. But those are grown men looking me in my face, and they're standing just as tall and just as big. And I'm like, all right, now here we go. So, but, and you thinking, you know, if you had been someone in the street, it might have been different, but you're not someone in the street. You are my kid. And I should handle that one different. But at the same time, I look at it in this one where in my house, and if I didn't show you and you thought that was the way you handle situations out in the street, somebody's going to put a bullet in you. Somebody's going to take you out because that's not the way you handle business. And so I have to come at them as, you know, like I'm trying to show them a life lesson for them to walk out that door, you know. So, but you're right, Doug, and all y'all are right so far. We don't have all the answers, and we're doing our best to be our best. So I'm going to let Walt go, and then I'll come back to you, Eric. Yeah, go ahead.
Right.
It brings me back to a quote by Dr. Carl Holmes out of Oklahoma City Fire Department, late 80s, early 90s, maybe. And his quote is, all I am, I owe. I live eternally in the red. You know, because there are no self-made men in this world. We all stand on the shoulders of others. So, and mentors come in all forms, all shapes and fashions. And Jack, you know, your father, who I call my OG, God bless the dead, was one of my mentors. And I mean, and it's basically just a guy, like if you're working out in the gym, that holds you accountable. And like you said, Eric, that definition was definitely that's it. So I appreciate being mentored. Because I don't know if I have a good idea until it's challenged. You know, I mean, in emergency management, you come up with these plans and ideas, and then your first responsibility is to try to break the plan. You have to challenge it to know if it's effective. And I think we lose that. We've lost that. And you know, so I just think that a mentor is somebody that will hold you accountable and make you challenge and challenge you. And then we do raise and mentor our kids and other kids, and you know, so again, like you said, Eric, they're close for sure, but the reality is we all have a lot to learn. And Jack, back to your show, Iron Sharpening Iron is a prime example. It's just basically men like tonight holding each other accountable, and you can be mentored by someone older or younger.
Yeah.
You know, so once you get these things and have these experiences, man, we all just kind of pay it forward.
No,
Excuse me.
Good point.
But that's what it is. But I run when a guy tells me he's a self-made man. I run for my life because I'm like, okay, so you had nobody helping you. You know what I mean? Like, I get it at this level, you did this thing, but who got you to that level?
Right.
You had to learn something from someone. So I run for my life. When I hear the self-made man thing, I just run for my life because I'm thinking, man, you got to go back to your neighbors. Think about how many men in your neighborhood, especially you guys playing sports coming up, or how many coaches you've had who mentored you and you didn't even realize the lessons that they were giving you, how important those lessons were until you got older as men, you know, and then you find yourself repeating those same things to other people. So that's where I'm at with that question.
Very good point.
Great question.
Very good points. Eric, I think you had something you wanted to share.
Yeah, just quickly, I just wanted to share, like, one of the major differences between a mentor and a father is that as a father, your children, they get to see all your shortcomings.
Yes.
They get to see all your frailties, all your mistakes. They get to see that. As a mentor, that's not necessarily so. So you're coming at them on a different level there, and there's a different level of respect. There's a different level of trust there. Sometimes you, as a dad, you may make so many mistakes that you just lost trust with your children. So then there becomes a need to go outside and find a mentor. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's what I just wanted to say, that there's a little distinction right there between.
That's true. But the good thing is, when someone is in your house and you got proper context of your mistakes.
Right.
So, you know, the lesson is, and I'm sure we all use this lesson, you make the mistake, hey man, you know, you hear the sound of hoofs coming down the hall, you bet your life it's a horse, right? Clackety, 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 clack, right?
Right.
Sometimes in life, man, it's a zebra, right? It's a zebra. How could you possibly know that? You couldn't know that.
You know, there's these stages too, right? Like when you're a real young man, you see, well, not, you know, the attitude is sort of, oh, you know, and this goes to, you see your old man's mistakes, right? My old man, this and that, and he did this and that, and yada, yada. And then you get to be a father, and you're like, oh, my old man, this and that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But being a man, once you realize that it's not what it presented itself as, you have to make that adjustment. And that's where the lesson comes in, when your kids are like, oh, okay. And again, you know, we all questioned our parents coming up, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then one day you wake up and it's like, how the heck did they do it?
Mm-hmm.
How did they make it?
Yeah.
You know, I'm making more money than they were making. How did they make it? So, hey, man, you know, it's like, you just be the man that you think you should be, and people will pay attention. And when you make mistakes, you make mistakes and you correct them, because guess what? If they keep living, they're going to go down that same road.
Now, I guess I'm gonna throw the question out there, because like everyone didn't have that father in the house. Everyone didn't have that father in the house. So, you know, where do you learn that lesson from? Who do you get it from? I mean, I know we were saying the difference between a father and a mentor and things like that. So, you know, is the mentor teaching you father tendencies, or is the mentor teaching you to be the man? Or because we look at the coaches and teachers and things like that, but they're giving you life lessons. But to be a father, no one's giving you any lessons on that. If they wasn't in the home, if you didn't see it.
Even with the father in the home, doesn't mean you're necessarily a good father. Right? Because it's all trial and error, man. And then your father may have been pretty good to a kid born in the 80s, but you know, the guys now, you know, like dealing with your grandkids or dealing with my grandkids, they're dealing with social media in kids' lives, man, phones and stuff. Think about it. We could all go out the house and find our friends with no problem. Right? Man, you cut the Wi-Fi in the house off now, man, kids would lose their minds. So you're teaching a different kid, you know, it's a different mentality. So my point to you, Jack, I think, my personal opinion, hey man, God created us, the Creator created us. He gave us discernment, and I think every generation thinks that the next generation is worse, and the generation before them had it tougher. But I think the reality is we always figure it out. We always figure it out. Always figure it out. Yeah. So you got to want to figure it out too. You can't use that as an excuse and as a crutch. Whatever the case is, not saying that, but whatever your situation is, you know, if you spend as much time thinking about how to figure it out as you do about, oh man, this is not right, this is not fair, I hate this. Man, at that point, man, what are you going to do? So what are your options? And when you look at your options, it's back to, okay, I got to figure it out. And sometimes it's just, I don't want to be that guy that raised me or didn't raise me. Sometimes it's just something, sometimes it's just as simple as that.
Yeah, no, I got you. No, good points. Yeah, very, very good points. For those who are out there and you are out in the chat, and I see we got some good comments that's coming up and down on the chat. So I want to make sure that we try to recognize. But if you haven't hit that like button, please hit the like button. Share this live with other people out there, and leave comments in and after the live is over. Once the live is over, leave some comments on the channels so we know that you were there and we can come back to you and all of those good things that we can do. But you know how to hit that thumbs up, drop some hearts and all. We got some good people up on the stage and some good real talk, and this needs to be shared out, because there's a lot of men that's running through social media that's really just looking for what we call clickbait. They're just looking for those you know, likes and shares. So you know, if you're looking for someone that's going to dive off the kitchen table onto a chair or something, that's not this channel. But at the same time, if you need some real talk and people talking about some real stuff that's going to help you in your life, you're in the right spot. So, but we definitely thank you all for being here. So I got one more question for you, gentlemen. I want to throw out there and see where we at. And let me pull it up real quick and make sure we get the right one. So here it is right here. What has been, and here's the question, what has been your greatest challenge in balancing work, family, health, and personal growth? What has been your biggest challenge in balancing work, family, health, and personal growth? So I'll start with Walt. I'll go and work my way around. So if you can drop some knowledge on that one.
I've been retired for 11 years, but when I was working, I was very fortunate because my shift, I worked 1, off 3. So I was able to have that balance. It wasn't like living for the weekend. It was like I work a 24-hour shift and I'm off for 3. I would say, man, the biggest thing that adversely affected me was health, as far as my sleep patterns. Especially it's caught up to me now in at 61, because I tell you what, man, it's been a long time. I mean, it's not often that I get 8 hours of sleep. It's usually like 6, 5:45 or 6. So my goal in life right now is to give me a good 8 hours of sleep on a regular basis, and just see how that affects my life. As far as work goes, I will challenge everyone to Google the poem "The Indispensable Man." And I'm not going to waste your time tonight. I know we're pressed for time, but "The Indispensable Man," and that sums it all up for me as far as your question. The Indispensable Man will sum it
By
all
Yates?
up. I'm sorry?
Is that by Yates?
Sometimes I see the author is unknown, and then sometimes there's another author. So I don't really know who is attributed to or who gets the attribution for it, but I do know that it's a great poem, and man, that thing, every work assignment I've had. I mean, I know it by heart, but I always put it up at my desk every work assignment I've had, because that's basically, when people come and read it, it kind of puts things in perspective of where I stand on what I stand on. So what I stand on, where I stand, and what I stand for. So there it is.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Doug, you got anything for us on that question?
It's one of those crazy things, for me, I think it was expectations and just balancing them, which made it harder at sometimes, because we always wanted to do things better than what we had it, or how hard our parents had to work, or do more things for our children, give them more opportunities, and have them have different experiences. And then as you go along, you see that maybe that's not what they want at all. They don't even want to be a part of that, or it's not what they were wanting to do. The most money I made in my life, I was probably the most miserable, because I was still always worried about money, right? I was always worrying about making sure there was no debt, making sure that we were going to all these places and vacations and having all these experiences, which you think should be really good things. But was that what I wanted, or is that what everyone else wanted? So as I've gotten older, I definitely see that I'm really greedy with my time, right? So my time is my time. And that's if I want to golf or something like that. My wife normally is the one who's always pushing me to go out and play golf. And I'm always worried about how much money I'm spending doing it, because I'm always worrying about the bottom line. So you just got to get where you're happy with yourself and inner peace, and being able to breathe and relax and enjoy things. And I've always sweated the small things, and I'm learning now that so many things are out of my control, that you can only really control the things that are going on with you. And again, I've struggled with that for a very long time, and I'm just starting to have that inner peace with myself, because I understand how valuable my time is.
Yeah, good point.
Can I add one caveat, Jack?
Go ahead, Walt.
When I talked about my shift, what that allowed me to do, I never missed a field trip, back to school night, PTA meeting, or anything. And that right there paid dividends down the road. So that's the balance that I was able to have with my schedule. But I tell you what, man, it pays off down the road. It really has. So because you'd be surprised that some of your kids and their friends will tell you what you've done in their life, or how you poured into them that affected them, and that you don't even realize that they were paying attention, man. So
Right.
I appreciate that moment. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm gonna spin your way, fishy things, with you on that question.
Can you pull up the icon again?
The icon or the
There's
question?
Yeah.
Question
I
back
mean,
up?
like, I get the gist of the question, but there was
There you go.
several caveats there. All right, so the balancing work, family, health, and personal growth. All right, I'm gonna be completely honest here, and I don't know if this answer is gonna be worth much. I don't know. So I've been a dad for 16 years now, right? And I can honestly say I just completely failed at balancing those things for the first 12 years.
Mm.
Every time I would lean one way or the other, something else would suffer. I could never find a good balance. So I just continued to fail and kept rearranging and retrying for about 12 years until a series of circumstances, and I'm not going to get into it all, just lined up in a certain way. It was almost as if God stepped in and intervened and forced me to say, "Hey, we're doing it this way, and here you go. You're welcome. Here's the path." And now I'm set. Now I'm balanced. It just works. It had nothing to do with me whatsoever. It wasn't any choices or like it was not. I didn't intelligently find a way to do this. Everything finally just balanced itself out, and now I'm good. I'm good. My life is great. Everything's just kind of working out now.
Right. Okay.
Terrible answer, but that's the
No,
truth.
no. One is an honest answer, so it's legit. So that was one of back on back where we talking about social media, where now because of social media, because of the smartphones, because of that, I don't miss as many events that I missed when I was working with my older kids because we couldn't record it. We didn't. I could now. My wife can go to a game and live stream the game where I could be at work and see the whole thing and see play by play. Where back in the day with my oldest son, I'd have missed that event because we didn't have the technology that we have today. So it's a lot of things where you take, where that was one of the good things about it. I wish my schedule would have worked out where I could just be in there live. But at the same time, as the scriptures would say, if you don't work, you don't eat. So sometimes you just got to work. So you got to go to work, and and it don't always line up. But because of social media and because of the way that you see the live streaming the games and all of that stuff that you can do with the kids now, you don't miss as much. So the younger generation, younger fathers and all out there that might be at work, or moms too, not just talking about fathers, but parents can now actually just pull up a link and watch their kids perform and not be there. It's much better when they're there and you can watch them, and they can hear you screaming and all of that other stuff. But they're live streaming graduations, they're live streaming the classroom, they're live. I mean, my funerals.
Yeah.
My puppies are in daycare and we can live stream and watch them bounce around the town and all. So I mean, it's just like things is totally different now than it was. So, and we didn't have the answer. So let me see where I was at. Was it who that didn't answer? Who was it? Who didn't answer? Was it? Oh yeah, Eric.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, first let me pull it back up for me as well too.
Man, come on, these old eyes and old minds.
Let me say, Fishy, I'm glad God worked everything out for you. Your life is in a good place right now. I really
Thank you
for that for you. I'm happy for you. Yeah. What's been your greatest challenge in balancing work? My greatest challenge, man, is this: time management and prioritizing things, the right things. Putting things, sometimes you prioritize the wrong things and you look back and you have to make readjustments back, and you keep doing the same thing over and over because your priorities are out of whack. So for me, it was time management, making sure that I'm doing and working on the things that really make a difference, as opposed to working and really not, like you're running in place. So yeah, time management is very key, and prioritizing the things that really matter for my personal growth, my health, my family, and all of those things. That's really key to actually getting to where you want to be in life, and actually experiencing some real, true peace. So that's what it is for me.
No, and that's all legit right there. I mean, it really is legit. And I thank you for, your comment. I know I'll break it down in three. So the big thing I always look at, I say you got your health, you got your family, and you got your job, and that would be that work-life balance if I look at it that way. And if I just put that in a pie, it's 33%, except for the one extra percent. And I say my family always gets that extra percent. So, I got to take care of my family, I got to take care of my health, I got to take care of my job. And then the other ones, because if you let any one of those lack, it would affect the other one. So you just got to keep that balance as much as you possibly can. So that's definitely, and then it is a struggle. I don't say, if you can work it out, like you said, fishy thing and prioritize it and all of those things is when but you're constantly working on it, because, any one of those things can throw it off kilter. And once it gets off, it makes it a little tougher. So, and that's where the big issue can be. So we constantly building and constantly working on it. So we know that, like I said, it's nothing that I did because, like I said, the Lord works in mysterious ways. The Lord put things in place and helps you out a lot. But a lot of that is, and I want to say a lot of it comes from just trying. The more you continue to try, the more you continue to be a good person, a good man, a good husband, a good father, a good, friend, the more you put effort in, you get those results out because you're putting something in. So it's not going to be instant. It's not like I met you today in a restaurant, we're best friends. No, we had to put some time and some work in to earn that respect and earn that title. And because of that, that's why I'm hoping and thinking that we have shows like this where we can actually come out and bring out real conversation and real, life experiences. And it's not all, everything doesn't fit in the same box. The way Fishy got it done is not the same way Eric got it done, is not the same way Doug got it done and Walt got it done. But because you all shared your experiences today, I have a better understanding of another way. There's another way. I don't feel, like not coming on the show, I felt like a failure. But at the same time, I know that my struggle is real, but I'm not the only one struggling. Right. It's like we lose that, that's how I feel when I play golf. And I know, Eric, you said you're not a golfer, but when I hit a ball in the woods and I go in the woods and find two other balls, I'm just saying, when I find two other balls when I go to look for my ball, I'll be like, well, I ain't the only one that came over here. And I feel much better. When I come out the woods, I feel better because I'm like, I ain't the only one that went over here. So, well, excuse me, when I talk to men and I hear you make the comments that you're making, I'm like, okay, all right. So I'm not the only one that had this struggle. I'm not the only one that had this problem. And because of that, that makes me stronger. Say, okay, don't give up. Keep going. Keep moving because you too can come over. Because if it worked for Doug and it worked for Walt and it worked for Fishy, it worked for Eric, then it should work for me because I'm going to keep on pushing. So I thank you. I really do thank you, gentlemen, for your time and your effort and everything. Sure. So before we leave, I'm going to ask if any one of you have anything you want to share. And I know, Fisher, you got a whole channel open over here. So if you want to share with your people before we wrap this show up today. I'll go with you first, Fisher.
Yeah, you guys check everyone out on this panel. I know they're not, I don't think any of you are making fishing videos, right? I'm in the fishing community, and so a lot of my my community, they all make fishing videos. It's very fishing oriented, right? But I think a lot of men are fishermen, and even the female fishermen probably have husbands, most of them anyway. And Big Jack's story time, he covers a lot of big hitting issues. It's a really great channel. You guys should subscribe to him. I'm sure you have more interest than just fishing. So I would just highly recommend you check these other guys on the panel. That's why I put it out on my channel. I know I'm usually just fishing, but I've been following Big Jack for a long time. I've done a few panels with him. I finally learned how to share the panel out. This is the first time I've done that.
Yeah, good job. Good job.
I'll check them out. Check these guys out. They're really cool. You won't regret it.
Oh, I appreciate that. I really do. So just to throw this out there, the last Wednesday of every month, we do the Battle of Sexes, the Battle of the Sexes. So that's where we have a panel of men and women, and we talk about those issues that men and women have with each other. The last Sunday of the month is the Gentleman's Journal, like we have today, where we just a panel of men talking about our our concerns, our likes, our dislikes. Excuse me. And then the last Saturday of the month is the We Be Jamming Live, and that's where we come on and we have the comics, the poets, and the musicians and all, and they come out and they share their things. So yesterday we just did the We Be Jamming Live, and we had a really good time out there. So it's a lot that you can come, and then every Wednesday and every Sunday. Other than the last ones of the month, is the Iron Sharpening Iron Show, where we have different guests on and we bring different and learn different things. So, and if I can, and I'm going to share it with y'all. So while you're here, because I'm going to drop this quick commercial, because our next Iron Sharpening Iron Show, we got a guest on. So let me drop this before we close out. But 1 second. Here we go.
Hey family, it's Big Jack story time, and you do not want to miss this one. This Wednesday, July 2nd at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Iron Sharpening Iron Show goes live with the one and only the real Veronica. She's bold, she's real, and she's the voice of customer service you've seen everywhere. Tap in for laughter, truth, and inspiration, streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Make sure to hit the notification button.
All right. So the real Veronica will be on this Wednesday. So the next actually Iron Sharpening Iron Show, we had the real Veronica on. We should have a good time learning about her experience and everything she do. If you haven't seen her yet, I don't know how. She's definitely on almost every platform, and she does a lot of cool skits and saying the things that you wish you could say when you was in the office, when you was working or whatever. But she's really good at what she does, and I'm glad to have her on the show. Other than that, Doug, you got anything you want to share?
I'm just happy I did this and, took that little step out from my normal self. So thank you, gentlemen, for listening.
I appreciate it. It wasn't as bad as you thought, huh?
Not even
I wish I would have had better technology to use, but
no, you did great. You did awesome. Really, really.
And you have a radio voice, whether you know it or not. I'm sure I'm not the first person to tell you that. You have a radio voice, man. So I'm looking for you to get a channel soon.
Yeah. So, I look 100%. Eric, you got anything for us down there, sir?
Yeah, I'm just honored to be here, man. I appreciate the invite. I just hope I added some value. You guys definitely added value to my life. And I'm looking forward to a long relationship. And I just want to add to this, men, we have to give ourselves some grace.
Some grace, my man.
Just give ourselves some grace.
No, I appreciate that. No, I definitely appreciate that. And thank you. Walt, talk.
Hey, man, an hour, 47 minutes. And I got to tell you, man, this was a master class. It was well worth it. So thank you, guys. I appreciate you. I've learned a lot from you. I will rewatch this and get some more information. I challenge all of you to, not just you guys, but our listeners, Google The Indispensable Man. Also, I challenge our listeners to like, share, subscribe, and share the Big Jack Show with some of your friends, as well as Fishy Things. Just, hey man, this community is growing. I'm kind of new to this YouTube thing, but it's pretty cool because you can see I don't get to make it to the barbershop. So it's kind of fills that void for me, man. So thank you so much. Everyone, please be safe and have a great week. Have a great week.
Yeah.
I do have one thing.
Go ahead.
Totally forgot. I shouted you out. I forgot to shout myself out. So in about an hour, I'll be doing an episode that I do every Sunday night at 9 Central called Chumming It Up with Fishy, and I interview a different YouTube fisherman every week. So, and actually tonight it's a female fisherman. I'm interviewing Mrs. Whip, who's a fisher lady from Wisconsin, and it's a good time.
Okay. All right. Look how small that world is, because Eric is originally from Wisconsin, and now he's in Georgia, and Doug is in Georgia. So it's all over the place.
Yes.
She said, "What part of Wisconsin, Fishy?"
So she's from Baraboo. I'm from the Janesville area.
Wisconsin?
Yes, Wisconsin.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So, hey, we thank you all for tuning in and hanging out with us on the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. If everyone on the panel could just hang over till you see the logo go off at the back, and I appreciate it. But everyone else in the chat, thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for coming this way, and definitely have a good, safe week. Please tune in Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern time for the Real Veronica. We're going to have a wonderful show on this Iron Sharpening Iron Show, and every show out there is really going to be wonderful. But we're going to start July off right. And so until next time, you stay blessed and peace, and we'll be talking to you later for sure.
Yes.
All right.